What's happening, fam? L.A.R movement still moving. Subscriber die trying. You see the thumbnail. You're putting too much sauce on your arguments. On these arguments. When you hear people having these conversations, debates, arguments, and they put forth their talking points about particular subjects, because a lot of people stay on the subject. But you do hear this veering off or this going into the woods where you got to put an exception on your argument. Like you got to put a hypothetical, a theoretical, but something that's outside of the norm and outside of practicality. So it's like you putting too much sauce on it. You know, I alluded to it in a video not too long ago where the man said he was his kids come first, but then they kept alluding to he's possibly sleeping with his child's mother, and that's why he's putting his kids first. And it's like this is when you put too much sauce on these arguments. You know, we used to hear when we would hear the brothers need to do a certain amount to give a woman a certain amount of comfort to the point that she can be feminine. That's too much sauce. Like comfort, yes, but you shouldn't have. But it doesn't take a certain amount of comfort for a person to be feminine. It doesn't take a certain amount of discomfort or comfort for me to be masculine. Either you are or you're not, or you're fighting it or whatever. You're being rebellious. So when you have these conversations where people are moving the goalposts and going here, it's like you're putting too much sauce on it. Like people want to go outside reality. Same thing with when I talked about recently about Black Lives Matter, BLM. They have a new 7-point demands. And this is what I mean by too much sauce. A bunch of you need to make sure Trump doesn't do this and Trump doesn't do that. And it's like so nothing really substantial for our community, just a bunch of feel-goodery, right? And why I brought it up that way is because it's a lot of fluff and putting too much sauce on. If we just make sure Trump wasn't there, then we wouldn't have to deal with these problems, which is ridiculous. So it's just kicking the can and ignoring common sense and practicality. Even some of the points that brothers make that some people might call chauvinistic or misogynistic, sometimes it's too much sauce. I should be able to do this and do that, and you can't say this and you can't say that because I'm a man and this, that, and the third. It's like, bro, that's too much sauce. Like you putting too much sauce on this argument because what you're basically doing is excusing bad behavior if it's coming from you because you want to get over. And it's like, that's too much sauce. You putting too much sauce on that argument, but I can do what I want if I'm doing this, that, and the third. Not a good look, right? So I get to that point when I'm thinking and listening, and I start realizing that why people put all the extra on everything, and why people do put the sauce on their arguments, and why people make up the extra things that don't exist and move the goalposts is because when it comes to staying in the issue, in the parameters of the issue, and you can even make it the gray area. This is black and white, and you're just staying in that middle of it. When you're there, you realize your extreme arguments don't have any legs. So now you got to make up a new possibility, a probability of something to happen that doesn't happen. So you can justify you trying to get over or gaming somebody or gaming the system of the conversation. Which at the end of the day, it's like, okay, you got all that sauce on it, now what? And even if you can make these exceptions and you make the exception the rule for you in particular, because you put so much sauce on these arguments, you forgot that you can't live this out. It's not going to work in practical application. So what's all the sauce for? Just to win a point in an argument, to feel like you won an argument or you won a conversation or debate. But in real life, you couldn't live by all the sauce you put on these arguments. So they're really invalid. But that's my point on this. Like, share, subscribe, or die trying. Catch y'all on the next one. We out. Peace.